Alright, welcome to the show. So for our first recipe, I've got a really nice light spring fresh salad. Again, spring is coming. Everything is going to start popping up. Farmers markets and so on, fresh produce. So this is a chance to eat some really good food. So the first thing we're going to do a grilled Caesar salad, okay? It is a char-grilled heart of romaine. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut the scab off. Now, if you ever find that your lettuce is starting to kind of wilt and die on you, fill your sink up with cold water, plunge this down in, and this will force water up in and flush out any dirt. Next thing you want to do is store it as such, okay, with the stem up. All right, trim that scab off, get that brown off there, open up all the pores, and what you want to do is put a damp towel over this, okay, kind of a wet towel. Don't squeeze it out, and gravity will take effect and it'll pull water back into the stem, into the leaves, and crisp it right back up. All right, that's a good way to store your lettuce. Now this particular head here, we're going to char grill half of it, so I want to trim off some of the larger outer leaves. And not all of them, just some of the bigger ones. All right, so get down to about there. Clean up the stem a little more. And what we're gonna do is just take and cut this right in half, right down the middle, lengthwise. All right, so there I've got two beautiful hearts, nice, fresh, green, crisp lettuce. We'll set that one aside. Now, in order for this to hold together on a grill, okay, or a flat top, you're gonna wanna take and tie it in a couple spots. Just don't forget to cut the string off before you serve it. And this is gonna hold the leaves together, keep it from falling apart, because once the heat gets to it, it's going to soften it up. And I leave a lot of string left over, make it very obvious that string is there, so we don't miss that. Now I do a double wrap, just like tying your shoes, but over twice. That way it kind of pinches down on itself and doesn't come undone while you're trying to work with it. All right, and there we have our lettuce, okay? Next thing we want to do before we char grill this is going to go real fast, all right? We're going to take sourdough bread, a little bit of oil, pinch of salt. Again, always salt from up high. That way you don't end up with what we call the hot spots of salt, or hot spots of spices, any spice. And a little bit of pepper, real light on the pepper. And this will go in the oven. All right. Again, lettuce is going to go last. We're going to brush this with a little bit of oil. I've got fresh Parmesan. Now the next thing I want to make is a dressing. Shallot. Cut that in half lengthwise. We're going to saute this with a little bit of oil. I've got 3 cloves of garlic. Now I'm not going to put anchovies in this because I'm not making a classic Caesar dressing. You can certainly put anchovies in it if you want. You can use any dressing you want. Let's get that nice and hot. Just a little touch of oil. All right, I just want to sweat that. Just pull a little bit of the flavor into it, give it a little bit of a caramel color, okay? While that's going, I'm gonna take 1 egg, 8 ounces of oil, take my little attachment here, all right, as you can see, that's blended it. It's turned white. That's the color we're looking for. And as soon as our shallots and garlic are done, we're going to add that. All right, we've got a little bit of color. Not too much. Just give it a little bit of a saute, a little kind of a roasted flavor. Caramelization, bring out the sugars. Blend that in. Just give it a quick taste. Season with a little bit of salt. Just a touch of pepper. All right, our dressing is done. Now, to do our head of lettuce, let's oil it. A little bit of salt. I don't have a grill inside, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn this on. I'm gonna walk this back and forth across the open flame. Let the grill get hot. Careful not to burn yourself. All right, let's get rid of our string. You can see we've got a nice little bit of a char on there, kind of warmed it up. Here's our crouton. Some fresh Parmesan straight over the top. And we'll take our dressing. And there you have it. Now the crouton is not baked until it's completely hard. Still got a little bit of softness in it in the middle, so it's easier to cut. And there's your char-grilled salad. Taking what I have learned over the past 30 years, I have perfected this 200-year-old traditional honeycomb candy recipe, which led to blending of sweet, savory, and spicy flavors with raw honey. The generations of our past used this process to preserve the honey throughout the winter months, much as they processed and stored fruits, vegetables, and other fresh foods. The result is a light, crispy, and flavorful candy. Our Kilted Chef LLC storefront currently offers 20 flavors of the honeycomb candy. The original is on display today. We recently launched our honeycomb candy sweetened tea line, featuring locally sourced and specially blended loose leaf tea from the Tea Spot in Colorado. We currently offer 4 flavors to choose from. Each box contains 6 pre-measured single-use tea bags combined with our honeycomb candy dust for an instant sweetener. I have the Earl Grey and Yerba Mate blends on display today. So visit KiltedChefLLC.com and place your order today. We currently offer shipping in the U.S. For military personnel, we really appreciate your service and offer free worldwide shipping for all active duty and veteran military members. For this recipe, I've got a sticky toffee pudding with a Earl Grey marshmallow. That's going to be our sweet and savory blend. The sticky toffee pudding is relatively straightforward, okay? We've got dates, brown sugar, flour, baking powder, baking soda, regular sugar, some vanilla, 1 egg, and some very, very soft butter, okay? First thing we want to do is soak our dates. So these have been sitting in water, getting soft. We put them in our handy dandy little tool here. Now after you get done grinding these, you definitely want to stick your fingers in here and make sure there's no seeds. And it sounded like there was a seed in there. There we go. All right, our seed's out. We found out that one. All this can go straight into our mixing bowl. So we have our dates. And these don't have to be pureed till they're super smooth. Just want to kind of break them up. All right, and then it just gets really easy. So flour, all the ingredients basically just go in together. Brown sugar, a little pinch of salt, our baking powder, baking soda, or soft butter, one egg, now I'm going to mash the butter, break up any lumps in the brown sugar, Just make sure I'm using the spatula. Again, you can do this in the mixer. I'm trying to avoid using the equipment. Now for the marshmallow, I have to use a mixer. Just make sure you're rubbing the spatula, kind of mashing any lumps of butter so we have a smooth batter. And that's what you get. Kind of like a thick pancake batter consistency. This is going to get spread out onto a sheet tray, baked at 325 degrees until it's done, 12 to 15 minutes. While this is still hot, I'm going to make a caramel sauce and pour that over the top before it cools, okay? So I'm going to set this aside. Now, here comes the fun part. What to do if you don't have a thermometer. So I've got sugar and water in the pan here, okay? And it's just sugar, enough water to make it a wet sand consistency, and I want to cook this to 240 degrees, all right? I've got my gelatin already bloomed, so this has just been sitting in water. You can see it's nice and soft. This is going to go into our mixing bowl. I'm also going to put in our Earl Grey tea. That's going to flavor it. Now, how do I test this without a thermometer? So, when I went to culinary school, my instructor, who was a master pastry chef, one of 17 in the US, Chef Jan Bandula, he did not let us use thermometers. He was, I don't know if he was just having fun with us or just teaching us the old school way. So, the way he taught us, and had everyone in the class do it, take a bowl of ice water, take these 3 fingers, move them around in the ice water until they're pretty much numb. Now 240 degrees is what they call a softball stage. So when I stick my fingers in here and go back into the ice water, I should get it with a little soft ball of sugar that forms, okay? So just real slow. Don't do this fast because you end up splattering sugar everywhere. And just like that. And there it is. And I've got a soft ball of sugar, okay, that is formed. All right, it's almost like a putty. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. So, put the whip attachment on. We're gonna slowly, on a low speed so we don't splatter the sugar, start stirring the gelatin, let it break up a little bit. Now this hot sugar is gonna dissolve the gelatin. I'm gonna try and get it as close to the side as possible and keep it out of the whip attachment so it doesn't splatter everywhere. Just be careful because this is hot sugar. Now certainly if you're uncomfortable doing this and messing with hot sugar, you just buy some marshmallows. Once it's all in, we turn our speed up. All right, so about 10 minutes have gone by. Our marshmallow is completely whipped up. Give it another 30 seconds. Now while this is finishing up, what I want to do is take a piece of parchment paper over a pan and I've oiled it, okay? Oil all your equipment. Marshmallow is very, very sticky. And when I say oil all your equipment, that includes your hands too. It's good for your skin. All right, how I know this is done is when I lower the bowl, you can see it's holding a soft peak. Now you can put this into a piping bag and pipe long strings. You can pipe Hershey Kisses. Now work with this while it's still warm. So once it starts to cool, it's going to set up. All right, we're going to put this in the fridge, let it set, okay, for about 5 minutes. Then we're going to come back and cut it out. I purposely left this a little soft. So I want to try and spoon it. I should be able to cut it in 5 minutes, okay? But we'll come back and check on this in about 5 minutes. All right, so the cake has been baked on the sheet tray. While it was on the sheet tray, I made the toffee sauce, which is basically kind of a butterscotch caramel sauce. Poured that over while it was warm, let it sink in. Just before it completely cooled, I rolled it up. And this is the end result here. So let's unroll it and see what we got. All right, And there's the result. Let's do this. Let's cut across this way for plating. Now to, again, handle the marshmallow, take a little bit of oil on your knife. Just be careful you don't cut yourself. Or this stuff is really sticky. As you can see, in about 5 minutes it's already set. It's peeling away from the paper, which we oiled. Spread the oil back around. Now these individual cubes, if you want to save them for later, say for a hot cocoa or coffee or whatever, you can toss them in powdered sugar with just a little bit of cornstarch mixed in with the powdered sugar. And my kids love marshmallows, so we're going to use a bunch of them. And there you have it. Sticky toffee pudding with Earl Grey marshmallows. All right, thank you very much for joining us on this episode of Kilted Chef. My name's Dave Knight. Today we made a grilled Caesar salad with fresh shaved Parmesan and a sourdough crouton, fresh dressing, it was a roasted shallot and garlic dressing, and then we made a sticky toffee pudding with a toffee sauce over the top, rolled it up into a roulade, fresh Earl Grey marshmallows to go with it, a nice combination of sweet and savory. Thank you for joining us. Hope to see you next time.